Hello.
Hey.
What did we call this podcast?
Thought in Action.
Thought in Action.
A Benedictine podcast.
Yeah. Now for a moment of silence. Yes. Yes. If only we were that evolved.
Right.
And Benedictine.
Right.
Can you imagine, what if Cistercians, Trappists, had a podcast?
Yeah.
They'd be like...
It'd be for people with sleeping troubles.
Brother Jason.
Just someone breathing. Oh, you don't have your headphones on. You can't hear how delightful this is.
Brother Jason. Oh. It's really live in here, isn't it?
I think I hear the computer whirring.
I don't know.
There's nothing to do about that.
I don't know how to undo
Because if
that.
we turn... What I'm thinking is if we turn the computer off, then we can't record.
That's, yeah.
Is that...
You're really starting to understand this stuff,
Yeah,
Jason.
I
got to turn our gains down. This is terrible.
Welcome to the Benedictine Thought in Action podcast. We are beginners in the Benedictine way, so we have to listen to the voice of wisdom. Otherwise, we're sunk. Join John and Jason as they learn to become more aware of God through living hospitably in community. Welcome, everybody. Today's conversation is about Mount Marty University's second core value, community. These two nerds are going to start the way you'd think they'd start, with the nature of the word community. Then they spend an inordinate amount of time wringing their hands about the gift, challenge of living in a community. Actually, I found it totally enthralling.
Welcome to another episode of Benedictine Thought in Action. I'm John Badley.
And I'm Jason Heron.
And we definitely have a plan for this
we do.
episode. I have a real sense that we are on a march through the core values of our university that have been distilled from the 10 hallmarks of Benedictine education by the Sisters of the Sacred Heart Monastery here in Yankton.
That's right.
And so, going in order, which also helpfully, I think as we noted in a previous episode, is alphabetical order.
Yeah, super convenient.
What's our next core value?
Community.
Community.
So we have awareness of God, community, hospitality, and lifelong learning.
Yep.
And we're on number 2, community.
Tell me about community, Jason.
I think the place I like to start when I'm teaching about community, because I end up doing that in ethics classes, is with the heart of the word, which comes from a Latin word, munus, plural, munera. And this is a very strange word from my perspective. So a munus in Latin is like a role, a responsibility, a function, a duty, an office, that kind of thing. And so it's easy to understand how that would be the involved in the definition of community, or our sense of what a community is, because communities are often made up of different roles where people need to fulfill those roles with a certain amount of responsibility so that the whole community can function. So office, role, function, responsibility, that all makes sense to me.
So it's like the place where people have roles.
Yeah. You have a place.
People only have roles relative to one another.
Right.
Thus, community.
So, and like if I'm shopping at the grocery, my role is not relative to the grocery store. It's just relative to my own desires. So we would never say all the people shopping at the grocery store are a community just because they happen to be in the same place doing the same thing. They don't have roles and responsibilities relative to each other. This is all, I think, fairly straightforward and not even that interesting. But the interesting thing is that word, munus, in addition to being a role, a responsibility, a function, an office, also means gift. So that's where I think community, the etymology of the word starts to become more interesting. It's fairly straightforward to see community as a collection of roles that need to be fulfilled.
Are
by
those separate
responsible members.
meanings, or did one come from the other?
That I don't know. But
where are our lexicographers at?
I know, right? Right into the show.
Right into the email that we haven't created yet.
And
wait, we should create an email.
yeah, get Mitch on that.
Yeah, his name's Kevin.
No. Oh,
wait, no, Kevin's the engineer, but Mitch is the
Sorry.
producer. I forgot about Mitch. Mitch, the producer, who schedules this space in the.
So speaking of
Yeah.
roles and functions, like
Yeah.
I'm a little unclear on who's doing what.
Well, we're all just doing the best we
Is
can.
it Mitch or Kevin? I apologize to both of you, Kevin and Mitch, for not understanding the roles that you play in this in pulling off this podcast. So gift. In theology, we use this to talk about Christ's like three offices: priest, prophet, king.
Mm-hmm.
The Munera,
Mm-hmm.
which are also his gifts to us. But I think this is a helpful way to start a conversation about community, so that we get beyond just like, okay, a community is a collection of people where they all are aimed at the same goal, and they do the stuff they've got to do to achieve that goal. I mean, I don't know what else there is to talk about. But if you add the idea, the theme of gift to community, then suddenly like you have a way of joining together the two poles that I think really make all social and political thought and action challenging, which is the priority of the individual, the dignity of the individual person, but also the priority of the community and the needs of the community. Famously, in all like political theory classes, you have to deal with regimes that take the community more seriously and end up destroying the individual, or you deal with regimes that take the individual more seriously and corrode the bonds of community. And so this like the poles, the binary between the individual and the community, you have to have some way of overcoming that. And I think if you imagine the individual person as bringing the gift of themselves and the gift of their responsibility to the community, so that the community can be what it can be, you have a way of starting to bring together or collapsing the binary or something like that. Very, very challenging in actual practice.
Yeah.
But
that was my first question.
Yeah.
Has that ever happened?
Yeah, no.
That's not been, I'll just say this, that's not been my experience of communities.
No, absolutely not.
Although, I will say, this has been a community for me where I have felt treated as a gift to the community.
This being
Mount Marty University.
Oh, yeah. I would say the same thing in my own experience.
Probably for the first time. I think, like, let's say a job as a community. I've often felt, let's just say distinctly not gifted. Tolerated.
Yeah, not received as gift.
Yeah, not received as gift.
Yeah, I think that's my experience here too. That the school has made it clear to me, both on the student side and on the fellow employee side or the colleague side or whatever.
We see you as gift.
Yeah. Thank you for doing what you're doing. We need you to do that, and it's a gift to us. We know you don't have to do that. You don't have to be here. You don't have to, whatever. That's a thing that you contribute to our common cause that really only you can contribute. So this has transformed, thinking in this way transforms my approach to basically all of my coworkers, all of my colleagues. You've got something that only you can bring. And I understand like a job at a university is not like membership in a family, where like I definitely think of my kids as irreplaceable. If one of my kids were to pass away, God forbid, I can't hire a new one. And at a university,
not yet. AI is working on it.
Yeah, true. at a university, people are replaceable, right? Like any job. Like someone can retire, and then we can fill their spot.
Yeah, and we often talk about it that way, too.
Yeah.
Like to make us feel better when somebody's leaving. Like, well,
there's other...
At least there's 1,000, whatever kind of professors.
Right, right. But I think it's important to realize that the role can be filled again, but it will never be filled in exactly the same way as that former person.
Yeah.
So, and so there's...
Because of the constellation of things that we are.
Yeah.
Of roles, of muneras that we bring to the community.
I like this way of starting the conversation about community because oftentimes there aren't a lot of ways of talking about community that make me think about the value of individuals immediately. Mm-hmm. But this immediately becomes a conversation both about the whole and the part if you keep gift in the equation.
Well, this, just to take a quick side...
Oh, let's do it.
Side thing here. It got me thinking about other words for community. I'm a Bible guy. I'm a Bible guy.
You really are.
Which, as we've established in previous episodes, is a way of getting around saying, I'm a biblical scholar.
Right. How do you say Bible guy in Hebrew?
They wouldn't. They just wouldn't. I think... I could be wrong here and write in all my highly type A New Testament friends, I'm sure are already typing. They know I'm going to mess this up. But it makes me think of the word koinonia as community in Greek, like koine, like common, commonality, community, common, which I guess in English, does common come from the same root as community?
I would think it would.
Yeah.
With in just a little change
Co-munera.
Yeah.
And then...
I would think so.
I don't know. I'm not sure Hebrew would even be interested in the concept of community because they might... I could be wrong here too. My process of thought, though, is that they'd probably call themselves the people. Or the family.
Yeah.
Or the nation.
Yeah.
I don't know that I can think of a separate idea that would be widespread and thought about that just means community. So why? That makes me curious. What's the utility of saying community outside of obviously nation and people can be racial, geographical, political?
I wonder if this is pure speculation, but now I'm actually like interested in what we're talking about.
Oh, you're actually interested.
I'm now. I'm present now.
Were you dissociating while you were doing your?
I was just
teaching
repeating
bit?
some notes from. Yeah,
I drew it up from my files in my brain.
Yeah, I wonder if it could have something to do with like the development of law. Roman law.
Yeah.
That you need other categories beyond family and the people of the nation because you've conquered all these territories and you've got all these groups to deal with. I don't know.
You need a group outside of a political entity.
Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah. Which is not to say that communities necessarily can be apolitical, I guess.
Yeah.
But
so I think it probably has to do with like scope of society, development of law, and like size of society, size of polis, size of nation, empire, where the larger you get, I think possibly the more obvious it is that family, nation, and religion
are not sufficient.
They don't include everything that you can possibly be a part of or be up to or doing, and
Yeah, it requires the naming of additional subsectors.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Which becomes like eventually we just talk about it as civil society. Yeah. So I guess I don't know. I'll put you on the spot. Does it make sense then if we use the category civil society to say, yeah, in ancient Hebrew they're not going to be talking about civil society. To me, that makes sense because it would have been tribe, then it would have been nation and the people, and of course the people of God, the family of God. But the idea of a civil society would probably be dawning on them as it was dawning on other people. I don't know.
Yeah, well,
I don't know.
To a large degree, I would say the Hebrew Bible, Old Testament, is the story of a nation, a group of people defining and redefining itself politically. We sometimes oversimplify how many political stages that they are written to have gone through. Maybe that was something that they were in the process of figuring out when they became a refugee group that is then defined politically by having been conquered and being actively oppressed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because by the time we get to Second Temple period and into the New Testament, Jewish identity is defined by its relationship to against the polis in a lot of ways.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's interesting now that we're talking about this way that there would be, I guess, porous boundaries between talking about family, state, and religion in the ancient Hebrew mind, right? Like,
yeah,
my state is the family of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, which is also the religion of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Whereas now we have things, the boundaries between these communities are fairly well defined. My religion is not my state, and my state is not my family, and so we have a much more pressing need for a way to talk about community in non-familial, non-political, and non-religious ways.
Right.
And
yeah. So then I'm thinking too, like, okay, well then, in Hebrew, Greek, whatever, how would like an Essene, like the Dead Sea Scrolls community, which I definitely studied, and I'm totally blanking on how they. I don't know that they necessarily had like a found. There weren't a ton of like. Wouldn't it have been great if we found in one of those jars one that was like, "Okay, here's who we are."
right. Mission statement.
Here's
vision statement.
Yeah, vision statement. Their strategic plan.
5 points. No more, no less.
Yeah.
Wildly something goals. Wildly. Whatever.
We can't. We got to cut that, Kevin. We're going to get fired.
Oh, Mitch is shaking his head.
Oh, Mitch is.
He is so disappointed.
Yeah, we had a whole talk about what not to talk about on the way in here, and Mitch was very clear.
Yeah.
Extremely clear. Okay, so that all being said, we're using the word with the Latin root, and it's the role place where you bring your gift and you are recognized as gifted.
Yeah. So I think this is interesting for a university in a couple ways. First, the university itself is a community made up of members, some of whom are students. They definitely don't think they have anything to contribute. They think they're passive recipients. It's not their fault that they think that.
No.
But for K through 12 education, you're basically a passive recipient. And so they're invited into this community to try to bring the gift of themselves to help us do the job of the university.
Yeah.
That is interesting to me. We've already addressed the way our university can enable us to feel like gift givers.
Mm-hmm.
But also the university is a part of like civil society, and so the university has a role to play and a gift to offer broader society. And chiefly, we offer that through like these ambassadors, our students, our apostles, our messengers, our little angels.
That's what we call them.
Yeah, the cherubim. Not the seraphim.
Nope.
No.
We don't need that kind of power.
No. They think they have.
No. They're too sleepy.
Yeah. Sleepy little chubby angels. Naked.
No.
Naked baby.
Oh, God. Yeah.
Yeah. By the way, do you know where that comes from?
I don't.
Just chubby little baby angel?
I don't.
Just
I'm not.
I don't have an answer. I just
my teachers really tried to get me into angelology, and I'm too postmodern to care.
Well, I maybe
Griffiths was like, they are forms unto themselves, and I was like, that is really cool. And then I never thought about it again.
when Dr. Bunto was introducing us to like the Second Temple period and all the angelology, and I learned.
Come on, Metatron.
Yes, I learned that there was an angel named Metatron. I was like, yes, I'm interested.
Yeah, and then you did how much follow up?
Can he turn into an F-16 fighter jet?
It sounds like it.
Yeah,
sounds like it.
I didn't do a ton of follow up. No.
Yeah.
No. Anyway,
on like and Metatron is like on a Galactus scale. You know, like standing off of the Earth would crush the Earth. So
yeah.
No, yeah, my Old Testament, yeah, same thing. In our biblical bodies class, we did a whole thing on Second Temple, the bodies of angels.
A part of the community of beings. But
add it to the list of things we should have researched before we started talking about it on a podcast. We're up to like 25 things, and we've been talking for 15 minutes.
Yeah. So,
write in, angelologists.
Yeah, bring it. Honestly,
Can't wait.
Bring it.
Can't wait. Listener Metatron 3000 writes in.
Okay. So, community is one of the 4 core values. So, evidently, we're supposed to be committed to community. Not just we are a community, but we're like, we need to like promote it and protect it and foster it and whatever. So, you're a newcomer. I've been here since 2017. You've been here 1 year plus.
Yep.
And Benedict tells us that we should listen to the visiting monk and the new monk in the monastery. See their perspective because they have fresh eyes.
Among other things. There's some parts I don't want to participate in with the new monks, but yeah.
So what do you think? You've already sort of given an indication here about your answer to this, but what do you think about how we're doing on being committed to the value?
Let me nuance that.
I want to nuance it.
I'm going to nuance it. I actually, interestingly, I don't know if this is like too institutionally specific, although I think a lot of universities might be going through something similar to this. I actually think we have a pretty decent community among the working staff and faculty here. We could obviously do much better.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone could. We do not receive everyone as gifted. But the thing I struggle with, having been in student affairs and now in the library, is just trying to help foster community amongst students and amongst the entire community. I'll leave room for us to have just been incompetent, but it feels like we're just doing stuff all the time and we're not getting that much response from students. And the explanation that it seems like a lot of people are giving in student affairs world broadly and here is like, well, pandemic. Post 2020 engagement's way down. Loneliness is up. I mean, it's a picture that makes sense, and nobody's wondering about if it makes sense.
Yeah.
But no one knows how to fix it. I mean, I host events a lot that, we just have, it's a huge challenge. I think our students have really high engagement in their sports, which I think is in part because some of our students view the sport as their job.
Right.
They see if they work on the court, then it pays for their education, or
sure.
Some of them actually have expressed openly to me or around me that doing the sport, they are essentially a professional athlete, and instead of getting paid in money, they're getting paid in having to do an education.
Okay.
And so I think they're probably highly engaged with their athletics.
Oh, definitely. And that gives them a lot of juice in terms of like community.
Sure.
I mean,
they've got a role.
Oh, for sure. And it's like super.
And you find out really fast
super
when they
bonding.
don't have that role anymore.
Right.
But we've struggled to get people to connect between teams or outside of their teams, which is tough on a lot of levels in terms of getting to know people and
Sure. So
they move in groups.
We maybe have an abundance of community here, but they're like siloed and insular from each other.
I'm sure that we do.
Yeah.
There's the number of people who come here and are happy here and because of their team is huge.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, so that's like student side.
And we love that, by the way. I want to say I love that.
Oh,
I think that there are issues created by that. There are cons to this pro, but it is a capital PRO pro.
Yeah, agreed. So what about among the employees, faculty and staff? You said...
Well, I just find that when we... Like, if a metric is putting on an event and people coming to it, I mean, we put on student events that sometimes more staff members come to than students. And they're by student affairs for students.
Yeah. Interesting.
And again, that's probably... there is an element of that is probably some level of our incompetence and some level of us, marketing troubles and some element of it that is like we're giving the gift of an event that actually just we want to go to, but I don't know. And I've also just felt, and I know that not everyone feels this way, but I feel like people have said, this is what you're really good at. You should do more of that.
Yeah, same.
Same. And I think everybody has had the experience of working at a place or being in a part of a community or a family where you go to it and you're just sort of like, these people don't really get what I'm about. These people they can't see what I'm good at, so they can't plug me into it, whether it's because what I'm good at threatens somebody else's status or what I'm or me being lifted up for what I'm good at maybe isn't seen, what I'm good at isn't seen as valuable to either people in charge or to the whole community, or and so then you feel like kind of, in one sense, crazy, in another sense, isolated, in another sense, like, oh, what I am and who I am isn't valued here, so am I valueless?
Yeah.
Am I worth less?
Right.
And so then it becomes an experience of anti-community, whatever that is. Disconnection, discommunity, uncommunity.
Isolation.
Oh, is that the word?
I think another sign, like you said, if one metric is like events that are put on and attendance at events, another sign is just engagement with coworkers, colleagues outside of work.
Yeah, what I call the coworker Bechdel test.
Oh. How
many times do you have conversations with your colleagues about things that are not your work?
Yeah. So from my experience, I have a lot of that.
Yeah.
A lot of sharing personal life.
I probably have a lot of that because of you, though. Because I've gotten deeply connected in the community really fast through you.
Yeah. So I took this as a sign of health here.
Yeah.
That there were people able and willing to engage in that level of friendship, where we have like entire lives that together that aren't work.
Yeah.
I love that. I think that's a sign of health.
And you have people whose relationship to you as coworkers is complicated. Like, for instance, Pastor Jake, our good friend.
Yeah.
He is a coworker, and yet he's also in a band with you, and he's also one of our like good closest brother friends.
Right.
And we would never describe him only as a coworker. Right. But he also gets to be a coworker, teaching in the Benedictine leadership program.
Right.
And I don't think there's maybe like a straight line for any of that, like friend to colleague to band member to whatever. So
you used the word complicated, I think. I'm thankful for these complications. Yeah, complex relationships with people here. Both, and honestly, I do think this is perhaps unique. I haven't worked at a bunch of other institutions of higher ed, but we have some of those complications with people who are like above us.
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting to be friends with someone who is like way, 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 way above you in the organization.
Yeah. I've never experienced that. I don't know if you have. But...
Well, the reason I say it seems like it might be unique is that when I talk about the fact that I'm friends with my provost,
mm-hmm.
if I'm talking about that at
people's
like
eyes
a conference
wide.
where there are other people from other universities, they're like, "What?"
Yeah.
Well, one of my mentors who taught me to think about community the way we started, Russell Hittinger, I told him that Paul, our beloved colleague in philosophy, was helping me redo our upstairs bathroom, and he just like burst out laughing.
Mm-hmm.
He couldn't believe that there were two like academics, a theologian and a philosopher, living like that.
Yeah. And also, I think it's been unique. Not only like there's a way in which we could be friends with our provost, the wonderful Bill.
Wonderful Bill.
Whomst I love.
He
I
does
waved
not
at him
make
this
us
morning.
call him that.
No,
he does not.
I do it by choice. In like a nepotistic way. Like he's our friend, so then we get to just do whatever we want. But no. We have a wonderful friendship with Bill that also includes us being totally functional,
right,
boss and subordinate.
He did buy me a car. Did he not buy you a car?
Oh no.
Oh
no.
We'll talk about that after though.
Yeah. Well, there was the trust fund. But just kidding. Just kidding. Yeah, like I feel like we could go out to get a drink, and at the same time, he could be like, "We're not going to do that anymore," and all of that is part of the complication of our complication in a good way.
Yeah,
of our
complexity,
community.
Yeah,
of our community, and aren't families like that too? Like, of course they are.
Yeah,
I mean,
complex layers of
why?
Right.
Yeah, couldn't.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I even think of like some of my relationships with your children have layers of love and annoyance and like with one another.
Yeah,
and frustration and anger.
Right.
Too.
Yeah, real
all of that's
family
bound
stuff.
up there.
Yeah.
We can have like a knockdown drag out and come back and hang out and watch a Marvel movie and giggle our brains out the next day.
Right. All signs of health.
All signs of health, I think.
Yeah.
Complication.
Yeah.
Healthy complication. Something. I'm working on it. Are we catchphrasing this? Is this part of the strategic plan yet?
It might be. I mean, it's no smooth cottery. Like, there's
smooth cottery.
I don't.
You know, I've thought about that a lot in the last however long it's been since we recorded that. Because I was like, is it soft or is it smooth? And does it matter if it's cottery, like burning out the wound to stem the bleeding?
Mm-hmm.
Does it matter if it's soft or if it's smooth?
Smooth cottery.
As long as it's suave, baby.
Yeah. Yeah.
I say weird stuff.
No, it's good. It's good.
I apologize for my demeanor.
Oh, okay.
Just as one of the greatest comedians, Maria Bamford, once said, I just want to say sorry for all my words and actions.
She is a genius. Oh my gosh. That's amazing. Okay.
Tell me about this Hittinger guy. You mentioned that Hittinger,
sure.
Hittinger, part of your community, gifted you this line of reasoning.
Yeah, Hittinger's just like this incredibly talented Catholic philosopher who's done a lot of careful thinking about society.
Mm-hmm.
And he taught me to kind of organize the world in terms of like religion, nation, family. It's like he calls them the three necessary societies. I mean, he didn't invent this. He got it from like Plato and Aristotle, but he just...
We'll talk about those guys next.
I guess so. He gave me this lens through which to think about life in terms of community and to think about the individual person in terms of community, without collapsing one into the other. And so I've just been really grateful for his teaching, and maybe someday we'll have him on the show. I don't know. That'd
be lovely.
I think he would say yes.
I think when I first got here, I I think I would have defined myself as Franciscan up to this date if I had to like pick a flavor.
Yeah.
And so I was like, all right, I got to wrap my head around being Benedictine. And first thing I found was a YouTube lecture of Hittinger talking about the rule and its role in society and the late ancient Christian Roman world. And it was awesome.
Oh, yeah, it's a great
I was going to
lecture.
ask you what we should recommend, but maybe just that.
Yeah, he's an oblate,
Yeah.
which I think
What's an oblate, Jason?
should be our way in to ask him on the podcast.
Oh, yeah.
So an oblate in the Catholic Church, like if you're a lay person, you're not ordained clergy, and you're not vowed religious, like you're not in a monastic order, then but you want to like practice and live the spirituality of some religious community, like for Franciscans, then there are ways for you to do that, and sometimes they're called third order people, I guess. It's the third order. So
First order
is usually men, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, and then second order is the women.
What if they were tied for first?
Yeah.
Tied for first order, men. Tied for first order, women.
Right. I don't know.
Definitely third order.
I was
lay
just
people.
about to say I don't know why it's this way, but then I was like, oh no, you do.
know.
Yeah, it's this way because everything's this way.
I've got some pretty strong theories.
Oh man,
Why it's this way.
yeah,
You mean to say I wish it weren't this way?
yeah. But in the Benedictine tradition, instead of being a part of the third order Franciscans or the third order Dominicans, like a lay person living out and following the spirituality of that order, in the Benedictine tradition, you're called an oblate, which actually, oblation would not be unrelated to the idea of a gift, right? An offering.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So, oh man, we're coming full circle, baby. Yeah, so you can become an oblate. And what that means is that you have decided that you are going to live the spirituality, the charism, the grace of the Benedictine way of life to the extent you're able in your state of life. You're not joining the monastery. You're not becoming a Benedictine brother or sister. But in your day-to-day life as like an insurance adjuster with, a family and 3 kids and like jet skis and stuff, you're also going to pray some of the hours and try to perform lectio on reality and on your life and on your relationships, and you're going to try to embody Benedict's spirit in the world. So Hittinger's an oblate. And it would be interesting to have this like great philosopher, like internationally known Catholic philosopher on and only talk about being a Benedictine oblate. That'd be like a really tasty thing.
You'd probably love that too.
Oh yeah. Well, everyone wants
Everyone
talk about the stuff you
philosophy.
Yeah. What about this other part of your life?
Yeah.
So I think you'd have interesting stuff to say. And I'm with you. Our media recommendation should be go on YouTube, search Russell Hittinger Benedict, probably.
Yeah.
And it's something about his wisdom, his time and ours, or something like that. Dark Ages, his time and ours, or something like that. I can't remember the title exactly.
You'll find it.
Sorry, Russ. I don't really know that I have much more to say about community. I mean, it's a thing that we want to explore with the podcast, not something that we have to finish exploring.
Yeah, did you comprehensive?
A comprehensive dive.
I thought a little bit, just to maybe wrap us up, maybe just see what your reactions are to this. When I thought about community and how I was introduced to monastic community, I remember very early on, one of the things that people told me a lot as an evangelical was you have to be prepared at any moment to give up your entire life for Christ. And that this was, I don't know exactly what the rhetorical goal was there. Maybe salvation prayer, like better make sure. But I remember as soon as I found out about monks and nuns and vows, and I was like, oh, well, they're the only ones actually doing it.
Interesting.
And
doing it, that is giving up
yeah,
everything.
Giving up.
Yeah.
Being an oblation. And so then I just sort of like, kind of forgot about that. Maybe a coping mechanism for me was when I wanted to run away from things, I would say, I just got to go to the monastery. But then I was introduced in college by Methodists to Henry Nouwen and
Beautiful.
the L'Arche community. And for those who don't know about the L'Arche community, basically there are these intentional communities, semi-monastic setups where people who experience disabilities can be lived alongside in community with people either living in that community or coming into the community from the outside during the day, so that they can live full and happy lives, which is kind of a new model, considering like previously it was like send them to the asylum. And then it was like, just kidding, no more asylums because that's crazy, but we don't really know what to do.
Yeah.
Or assisted living or whatever. But he's written a lot, and Henry Nouwen, he had this, I would almost describe it as a tick because it comes up a lot. I actually was looking at it earlier, and he just said it in a blog too. He said, someone once said, community is the place where you live, that the person that you least want to live with lives with you. Which is to say, I think, here's my interpretation. I think what he's saying is when we think about community in a bland way, we think of it as just harmony in a group of people. But in fact, it's the hard work of actually complicating, living in complicated relationships with people. And that's, I think, especially clear in a monastery because you can't leave.
You made a promise.
Yeah. If your worst enemy lives at the monastery, you got to figure it out.
Yeah.
Because there's no exit.
There's that famous story about Merton, Thomas Merton, famous Trappist monk.
Gethsemane in Kentucky.
And he didn't get along with brother so-and-so. They were always at odds. And they both eventually died, and the abbot buried them right next to each other. I love that story. If they couldn't get along in this life, they'll have to figure it out in the next, I think he said. I don't know how apocryphal this is, but that's the story I've heard.
It sounds right.
So,
I assume that's why why Merton became a hermit.
Yeah, right. Not the
like,
easiest guy. Yeah, I think this is amazing. I think this is also just in terms of L'Arche, their own story. I mean, Jean Vanier's in trouble now.
Yeah.
I don't think Nouwen is. But the memory of Jean Vanier has been tarnished because it turns out he was probably a predator. Yeah. And so you have this beautiful idea for a community that he was instrumental in starting, but he himself was just this wicked
Yeah. Well, and this
person.
This is a worldwide subject of discussion right now with canceling. And we've talked about it for a long time, and in theology as well. Like, can the theology be good and the person be bad? Can the community be good and the leader or a member of it be bad? I mean, the glaring example is sex abuse scandals in the Catholic Church. Other examples that I'm thinking of, though, this is a theology nerd one, but one time a theologian at Duke passed away, and I was one of the librarians in charge of getting all his books that other people didn't want and bringing them to the library to be donated. And amongst them, we found a set of all of Karl Barth's works that Karl Barth had given to him. And it was Jeffrey Wainwright was the receiver of those. He was an ecumenical Methodist liturgy theologian scholar. And inside of each one of those copies, if I remember correctly, they found Karl Barth's signature and the signature of Karl Barth's secretary, whom he was cheating on his wife with. And this was tough for the Barth people who came in force to Duke, because they couldn't decide if they could necessarily separate their lovely Bardian ideas from this lifelong treachery that he had committed and left evidence of in a book that now is owned by the library.
Right.
And we've talked about, actually, Paul Griffiths has been a really helpful conversation partner in this, because he firmly believes that the holiness of the person is separate from the helpfulness of the idea. Right.
There's a new book out. I think it might just be called Monsters. We could look that up. Someone in more in like pop culture, not in theology.
Yeah.
Wrestling with, Woody Allen and Roman Polanski and Bill Cosby, and like, what do you do with these people who are so obviously brilliant and produce incredible work and are in fact monsters? And I haven't read the book yet, so that's just another recommendation. Someone needs to read the book.
I think we're up to 45 things that we should have thought about before we did this.
Yeah, but there's something fresh about this conversation, John, off the top.
Right off the top.
Yeah. But this comes up every time I teach about community when I do our unit on Catholic social teaching.
What about canceling people?
And, well, the reason it comes up is that typically there's a student in class who, when I introduce Catholic social teaching, will rightly have the question, well, why should we listen to what the Catholics have to say about social issues? Like, isn't the Catholic Church manifestly broken and not healthy and sick and whatever?
Just came out. When was it?
Yeah.
Like yesterday?
$880 million.
L.A.
That's like a normal human question. That's a good question. But then when we talk about it in class,
we ought to have that question.
Yeah, absolutely.
If we don't have that question, we ought to wonder about ourselves.
Right. But then the ongoing conversation is like, well, where's the community that I can go be a part of that doesn't have some terrible scandal in its history, compromising its integrity and ruining its witness to whatever it claims to be witnessing to? I just can't think of any place on earth that I can go where I can find that.
No.
And so we have to maintain something like Griffith's distinction between the holiness of the agent and the helpfulness of the ideas or whatever, even at an institutional level. But gosh, it's still so terrible.
Well, I think that's the gift of one of Augustine's gifts to us, is to really lean in to the brokenness of the human,
right?
And which I find very freeing.
Yeah.
Because we've been a part of holiness communities in the past, pietist communities, where not only is it dependent upon your emotion, but it's dependent upon your actual holiness.
Yeah, purity is at a premium.
Yeah, and so your ideas and your ministry are wrong and bad if you are not actively holy.
Right.
Can be. There are obviously traditions where that. There are many, many examples of theologies from those traditions that don't say that, but that has been the case a lot. And it's freeing to really listen to Augustine say, no, it's everyone.
Yeah. If he calls the church a chaste whore, then you're allowed to wonder what's going on with all the sex abuse.
Yeah.
You're allowed to ask and to be troubled and to be angry and to want to get away. And I mean, that's like normal. St. Augustine could think that way. You can too.
Yeah. And there are ways for things like that to happen inside of a family.
100%.
And for community.
This is the painful thing about my student's question.
To end or to continue.
It's to think that you somehow have avoided this because you've jettisoned religion. You have not escaped unscathed.
No.
There is not an institution, there's not a community that is not harming
and
its innocent
you're
members.
part of that.
Yeah.
You are part of that.
So I find I'm glad they asked that question. It's a valuable question. But anyway.
It reminds me of, whenever I've been somebody's sponsor to come into the Catholic Church, like one of the main things I talk about, because this is I think probably the most pressing question for our young people, or if it isn't now, it will be, evidence. They're all leaving the church. So, and if that's, maybe that's boredom, but maybe that's anger, maybe that's whatever. I just ask them over and over and over, like, if you get angry, if you get upset about something, if you disagree with something, what are you going to do about it?
Right.
Because it will happen.
Right. Yeah, I find that my students are pretty exercised by this idea that you would find these problems, wrestle with them, and yet remain in the community. But they have no trouble.
That's just not what we do. What we do is I found a problem. Bye.
Yeah, but they don't do that to circle back to Hittinger, they don't do that with regard to their family or their nation. Which is just interesting. I think this is one of like Hittinger's like really important points, is like how radically our vision of what a religion is as a community has shifted. There are all sorts of problems in my family, immediate and extended. It has never even crossed my mind to change my last name and abandon all of them. Never even once. Similarly, this nation is as screwed up as ever. Like, whatever. You just take your pick. It doesn't even matter. It never crosses my mind. I mean, we could like bat it around over drinks, like, should we move to Canada or whatever? But no one's actually
moving
doing
to Denmark.
it. Yeah, no one's actually doing it. No. It's not even like a real possibility. But the moment you encounter something like a pivotal moral problem in a religion, for some reason, that of those three like foundational communities in a person's life, that one is like, by now in American like social formation, is basically the equivalent of like a softball team. Like, well, I just didn't get along with those people, so I'm going to leave.
Yeah.
And that's pretty wild. That has incredible ramifications for our ability to talk about community and what it requires to be the gift that you are in a community. And yeah, incredible. So I'm really grateful for Hittinger for just highlighting those three essential communities. I think that triumvirate makes a lot of interesting conversation possible. I don't know what to do with any of that. But I'm not leaving my family, I'm not leaving the United States, and I'm not leaving the Catholic Church. And I'm not leaving Mount Marty. And John, I'm not leaving you.
I'm not leaving you either. This sounds like a good place to
make promises.
Draw it to a close.
Yeah.
Because it is, I feel like what we're going to do in all of these core values ones is complicate the issue and then say, man, that is really hard. So, ...
Turns out I was right this whole time.
Man, that is really hard. Real quick on the way out, I do want to say I have been exercising my nerd demon on studying some of the ancient monastic rules. This is my media recommendation. To try to figure out some things. We had some questions about the rule, and I realized like not very many of us knew what something that a Bible guy would ask, which is like, over what period of time was this text maybe drafted? Who? Where? When? And everyone was like, So I started to go look for answers. I started to look, and I found in the Terence Cardonk wonderful commentary on the rule, Benedict's rule, pink book,
the big pink
book. He just said over and over, like, it's the rule of the master. It's the rule of the master. So I ordered our library, the rule of the master from Cistercian Studies. Yeah, it's here. It's right over there. In order to answer myself some questions, and got to tell you, Benedict really made a short rule. This one's highly detailed. There was a whole long chapter just on what to do about if a noble comes and wants to be a monk. It's wonderful. This is awesome. Let me summarize.
Okay.
If a noble person comes and they want to be a monk, go to their family. And if their family wants to kill you, then definitely take them, because you think he's going to say, then, like, let's negotiate. No, he says, then definitely take them because God will defend you.
Wow.
But if they're, like, kind of cool with it, then bring them to the monastery and be like, you sure? Are you sure that he should be a monk? And then gives, like, this long speech that you need to give to them about how they're giving over their child to be a part of the monastery, which is laced in scripture, and it's wonderful. But yeah, it just makes me want to be in the room listening to a noble person be like, Abbot so-and-so, you don't know who I am, but I will come for you. And he's like, sounds good.
Bring it.
The Lord has I think it actually quoted the Bible and said, the Lord has a strong arm and will defend the novice.
Right.
Which was wonderful.
Which is just the old way of saying, come at me, bro.
Come at me, bro. So do you have anything besides Hittinger to share with us?
We just watched Miyazaki's new masterpiece, The Boy and the Heron.
And
it was really beautiful.
It's a real toughie,
and
especially
strange.
considering it was so autobiographical.
Yeah, it's beautiful and strange and troubling, and I can't recommend it enough. The moment we stopped it, I thought I need to rewatch that, which is a pretty good sign.
The level of vulnerability, and actually knowing that particular movie was so autobiographical made me think differently about his other films and just how much he's laid himself open to us as a creator. Yeah. I feel that it draws together so many things: abandonment by parents and tragedy, war, children on their own trying to regain a relationship with their parents with varying degrees of absence and anger and sadness.
Yeah.
It was just, And then there's also like the fun, crazy stuff, like the heron's mouth opening up and there's like an old guy in there. And the giant parakeet, like, spoiler alert, giant parakeets like coming out of the hole and being like regular parakeets after being those dopey guard things. And
so amazing.
Also the castle coming apart and all the cubes and crazy, wild.
Yeah, he's
beautiful.
A transcendent genius.
Yeah.
Hayao Miyazaki. Thank God for him.
So if you don't like his movies, you can't be friends with us.
Nope. Can't come on the pod. Nothing.
Community, over.
Yeah. You're
canceled. You're canceled.
Under the ban.
Under the ban. I don't think we violated any of our words under the ban, did we?
No. I can't remember what they are.
I don't know, but I've heard they're really impactful.
What, did we already put that one on?
Yeah.
Okay. I was going to say, because that's not allowed.
That was a whole joke.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm catching on.
Community. That's it.
Great.
Can't wait. It actually just makes me excited to have Hittinger on.
Yeah.
To have some of my friends from L'Arche communities on.
Yeah, absolutely.
To talk to my friend Sarah about becoming the baptized body.
Mm-hmm.
To talk about community more, because
let's do it.
It's now, because we just talked about it, I think it's the hardest one. Wait till next week, though.
Oof, hospitality.
Oh no, is that the hardest one?
I don't know, man. I don't know. One of those two is probably the hardest one to talk about.
All right, keep thinking and keep acting. Is that it? Did we do it?
So close. Mitch loves it. Kevin is shaking his head now.
Yeah. We should call our listeners Little Bennies.
Little Bennies. Okay.
Because Scholastic is hard to turn into a nickname.
Little Ickas.
Little Ickas. All right. Bless your hearts.
Bye.
The Benedictine Thought and Action podcast is produced by John Barron and Jason Hadley. But it would be better if we didn't have to work with our unpaid intern Curly Flassy. As ever, we're edited by John's golden doodle, Llewellyn, who is a very sweet boy. Fact-checking by Jason's cat Gigi, who lives with cerebellar hypoplasia yet still manages to put away a little each month at the local credit union. The show is engineered by Frank Lloyd Wright, which explains all the wood. Our music is hated by Jason's sister, Emily, who wants the pod to sound like a celebration of autumn festivals and pumpkin spice. Our patron saints today are Bernie and Gert. The voice you're hearing is an AI mix-up, painstakingly generated by the internet from a recording of Richard Loftus back in the 1950s, when he was a child actor doing voice work for a North Dakota car dealership, plus the noise he makes when people say history is boring.